what do we know about zombie movies? This is a movie talk. What do we know about zombie movies? There's a few rules to them, right? The first rule of a zombie movie, of any kind of zombie apocalypse, is that the police and the military make it way fucking worse. They show up and make shit way worse, not better. They don't improve anything. They make it way worse, and it's usually because they're following orders. Have you noticed that? Have you noticed that the heroes, the ones who turn to be the heroes in the zombie apocalypse movies, are the police or military that disobeyed the orders, right? There's a message there. It's the artist trying to tell you something. And yeah, but the guys who just follow all the orders, they show up and make shit like 10 times worse. They spread it, it becomes horrible, right? That's what we kind of know about. There's a rhythm to all the zombie type apocalypse movies, and there's a whole shitload of them. Everything from The Last of Us to Game of fucking Thrones, which is basically a zombie apocalypse movie with a whole bunch of stuff in the middle, set in a medieval, setting. It's the same basic idea. Well, that's the problem, is that it requires people. What do we know also about zombies? Zombies don't think for themselves. There's a message there. They don't think for themselves. There's always some kind of a central thing that keeps them moving, like they're searching for brains and so on, right? Yeah, in other words, the people who think for themselves, right? That's the metaphor. So yeah, this is kind of the things that we know about this. And if you go back and you watch virtually any zombie movie, you'll see that this kind of is how it plays out. And it's because it's a satire. If you understand the idea behind the zombie, it's a satire. We kind of, after a fashion, are living through a zombie apocalypse right now. It's metaphorical, but how many people can no longer think for themselves? Right? It's impossible now for them. They have to know what Tucker Carlson thinks or what Bill Maher thinks. They're not thinking for themselves. They have to call their manager and get permission to do blah, 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 because they're not allowed to think for themselves. They're capable of doing it. You're capable of doing it. But they're not allowed to develop their own opinion because they have to see what the mob thinks or what they think is going to fly, or so they can keep their money or something like that. This is just reality. It's not life imitating art. It's art imitating life. It's just that the people who write this kind of stuff or who make these kinds of stories up they don't know how to explain something and even if you did explain it, nobody would believe it because they're talking to zombies. So you better start believing in zombie apocalypses because you're in one.